Sanskrit. Made easy. My aim is to explore how the unique qualities of the Internet can facilitate the task of learning and teaching Sanskrit. To some extent the videos are iconoclastic, for although it owes much to both traditional Sanskrit grammar and classical Western philology, it does away with both whenever they make the task of learning Sanskrit needlessly complicated. The heart of my videos is the grammar guide, which has been under slow but steady development. Featuring thousands of exercises, more than 100 lessons, and dozens of images and audio clips, the guide presents Sanskrit grammar in a fresh way without sacrificing clarity, depth, or its enthusiastic spirit. Without going to introduction, I would like to start our first chapter. Chapter 1, Sound. In this unit, vowels. Simple vowels. Compound vowels, plus e. Consonants. Stops and nasals. Voice and aspiration. Other consonants, plus e.
Anuswara and Visarga.
Combinations. Syllables. Reading. Sounds. Introduction. Now we are ready to start our study of Sanskrit. But instead of jumping straight to words and sentences, we should spend some time on an extremely important part of Sanskrit, its sounds. You might think that the idea of speaking and writing sounds is already straightforward enough. However, a precise understanding of how different sounds relate to each other is much more important in Sanskrit than in other languages. A simple Sanskrit word can grow into more complicated ones, and it often does so with specific and precise changes in sound. If you have a good knowledge of how Sanskrit sounds are organized, it will be very easy to predict and understand these changes. If you do not, it will be very difficult for you to go forward. Even if you know what Sanskrit sounds like already, and even if you know other related Indian languages already, it is worth your time anyway. Please, don't skip ahead. The study of sounds. Sanskrit was the native language of a people who had no writing system. But over time, Sanskrit changed from a native language that people spoke from birth to a sacred language that people had to learn and study. During that time, speakers of Sanskrit came to see an almost divine power in the language's sounds. So, these speakers wanted to preserve the sounds of Sanskrit for future speakers. By doing so, they hoped to fight back every language's tendency to change over time. With this in mind, early Sanskrit speakers rigorously studied the way that Sanskrit was spoken and described their observations as accurately as possible. That is, they studied Sanskrit pronunciation and described how the language was pronounced. Due to their work, we know almost exactly how Sanskrit once sounded. But how could these people use language to describe language? Essentially, they did so by giving names to different parts of the mouth. By using these names, they could describe how the tongue moves between these different parts to create distinct sounds. To help you produce authentic Sanskrit sounds, this unit does something similar. Writing systems. A writing system is a way to record different sounds. More generally, we can say that a writing system changes a sound from something for the ears to something for the eyes, or perhaps even for the fingers. Writing systems can have many complicated rules, as you've likely seen in your experience with English. But writing down Sanskrit is actually quite easy because, for the most part, at least, words are written exactly as they are pronounced. If you know how to pronounce a word, you will be able to write it, and if you can read a word, you will know how to pronounce it. There is, however, one difficulty. That difficulty is caused by the shapes of the letters we use. A set of shapes is called a script, and although many scripts have been used to write Sanskrit, only two are common today.
Devanagari. Devanagari is the script used for Hindi, Marathi, and some other North Indian languages. Devanagari can take a significant amount of time to learn.
IAST. IAST stands for the International Alphabet of Sanskrit Transliteration. IAST is a modified version of the same alphabet that English uses, and it takes only a few minutes to learn. Western scholars of Sanskrit tend to prefer it to Devanagari, which is okay. After all, Sanskrit has never really had a script of its own, and the tradition of using Devanagari instead of other scripts is actually quite recent. You can see the two scripts below.
Dharmkshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yuyutsavah. Dharmkshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yuyutsavah.
On the sacred field of Kurush, all assembled wanting war.
From Bhagavad Gita. For sounds we will use IST. For starting out we will use both IST and Devanagari. Generally all material after starting out will use Devanagari. For that reason, I strongly encourage you to learn Devanagari. The next unit includes Devanagari lessons which you can use to learn and practice with the script.
Unit 1, Vowels. We can divide all sounds into two types, vowels and consonants. Vowels are sounds that are produced by letting air flow cleanly through the mouth. The air stream has no stops or breaks of any kind. Are sounds like A or O but not sounds like K or B. Consonants, meanwhile, are sounds that are produced by interrupting the flow of air through the mouth. Consonants are sounds like K and B but not sounds like A or O. In this part of the chapter, we will study the Sanskrit vowel and learn how vowels are related to each other. By learning about these relations, you will greatly improve your ability to read, understand, and use Sanskrit. Granted, this is a very modest way of starting our Sanskrit studies. But these simple principles are so fundamental that they must be learned and mastered as early as possible. Simple vowels. In this lesson, we will study 8 of the Sanskrit vowels. Short vowels. Sanskrit has 5 fundamental vowels that form the basis for the other vowel sounds. One of these 5 is extremely rare and is not worth studying for some time. The other 4 are below, pronouncing only pronunciation column.
A, E, U, R.
Let's call these 4 vowels the short vowels. When you pronounce these vowels, keep them as short as possible.
R.
Has changed in pronunciation over time. Some claim that it was once like the regular English R, as in rough. Although I have not found a conclusive answer either way, my research indicates the version recorded in above table is most accurate. Note that it sounds almost like a consonant. Studying any language can be dull, including such a beautiful language as Sanskrit. The importance of the vowel.
A,
The vowel
A.
is especially significant in the Sanskrit tradition, as this verse
From Bhagavad Gita.
shows. Of letters I am A. Of compounds I am the dual. I alone am unending time, the founder facing every side.
From Bhagavad Gita.
Why is
A.
so special? The traditional answer is that
A.
is the origin of all vowels and the basis of all speech. If you read this answer carelessly, it might not make much sense. After all, what does
A.
have to do with letters like K and B and how does it relate to other vowels? But this answer should not be taken so strictly. Recall that
A.
is the sound of exhalation.
A.
Requires no extra effort and no movement of the tongue or lips to come forth. This is what the answer means when it says that is the origin of all vowels, since is the unadorned sound of air leaving through the mouth, all other vowels are modifications of it. Since is the sound of breathing, and since breath is the basis of speech, we can say that represents the fundamental basis of speech. Long vowels. We can take each of the 4 short vowels above and make them a bit longer. By doing so, we get 4 long vowels.
A, E, U, R.
The long vowels are pronounced for exactly twice as long as the short vowels. Notice that the pronunciation of
A,
is slightly different from the pronunciation of
R.
is a rare sound, and its pronunciation varies from person to person. Similarity. Together, the 8 vowels above are called the simple vowels. With the 8 vowels above, we can create the rest, which are featured on the next page. But before we do that, we should consider an important aspects of these vowels, similarity. Fortunately, similarity is extremely easy to understand. 2 vowels are similar if their long forms are identical. That's all. So, and
A,
are similar,
E,
and
E.
are similar, and so on. Now, similarity is only a useful term if there are also vowels that are not similar to each other. We can say that such vowels are dissimilar. For example,
A,
and
E.
are dissimilar even though they are pronounced for the same length of time. The Sanskrit alphabet. The letters of the English alphabet have an arbitrary order that students new to English must memorize with quite a bit of effort. Sanskrit does not present this problem at all. The order of the letters is quite simple, and it's easy to learn. The alphabet consists of vowels followed by consonants. The short vowels are presented in the order given above, and the long vowels immediately follow their short forms. So, the first 8 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet are
A, E, E, U, R.
As we continue to learn more Sanskrit sounds, we will expand on this small alphabet. Compound vowels. We have just studied the 8 simple vowels. We have 4 more vowels to study. These 4 vowels are all combinations of 2 simple vowels. For that reason, we can call these combinations compound vowels. Compound vowels are pronounced for exactly twice as long as the short vowels. So, the compound vowels and the long vowels are pronounced for the same amount of time. This fact might seem unusual at first, but you will soon get used to it. The main difference between simple vowels and compound vowels is that compound vowels have more strength. To make a vowel stronger, we add an sound to the front of the vowel. This will be clarified later on. Vowels appear at one of 3 strengths. Weak vowels. The weak vowels are the simple vowels. So, the terms simple vowel and weak vowel describe exactly the same thing. However, the term weak vowel is clearer when we're talking about vowel strength, as we are now. That is
E, U, R.
Now, let's study how the compound vowels are pronounced today. You might be wondering, why do we need to know that the compound vowels had older forms, and how do we know that they ever existed? These 2 questions have very good answers, but we'll only be able to study those answers in the next chapter. For now, it's okay to ignore these older forms. Medium vowels.
에, 오, 에,
And
오,
are simplified versions of the old.
에,
And
오,
these two vowels are called constant sounds above. This phrase is used to distinguish these sounds from the way that
에,
and
오,
are pronounced in English. In Sanskrit, the sounds are flatter. You can hear this in the audio examples above. In English, however, these two sounds are each pronounced as two separate vowels. English E sounds like Sanskrit,
에,
and English O sounds like Sanskrit.
오,
Strong vowels.
의, 오,
These two vowels look like the old medium vowels,
의, 오,
but they are definitely strong vowels. Note that the
아,
sound at the beginning of
의,
and
오,
is pronounced exactly like the vowel.
아,
This
아,
sound is kept as short as possible.
아,
And
아, 아,
and
아,
have a long and complicated history in Sanskrit, and they don't fit into one neat category of strength. For that reason, let's ignore their behavior for now. The alphabet. The compound vowels are added in the order given above. So, this is our current alphabet.
아, 아, 에, 이, 우, 우, 르, 르, 에, 의, 오, 오.